Ladies and gentlemen, today I will be telling you everything you need to know on how you can qualify for the Solo Cash Cup finals, as well as giving you the best practice methods to prepare for the Solo Cash Cup. Jumping straight into the video, I will be talking about the dates of the Solo Cash Cup. The Solo Cash Cup will take place every Friday, with the finals being every Sunday as of right now. You will have 3 hours to play out 10 games, and the top 600 on every region will earn a spot in the finals. Then the top 25 on NA Central and EU and Asia make money, the top 20 on NA West and Brazil make money, and the top 15 on Middle East and OCE make money. Moving on, I will be talking about the point format and how you should play. The format is completely different than the Solo Victory Cup, where you got 65 points for a win and 1 point per kill, and half the placement was in the top 5. For the Solo Cash Cup, you'll get 60 total points for a win and 2 points per kill. You'll get 1 placement point for every player that gets eliminated after the top 50 up until the top 3, where you get 2 points for third and 4 points for second and 7 points for the Victory Royale. The placement to kill ratio is 60-2, meaning 30 eliminations is the equivalent of a Victory Royale. So throughout the tournament, you're going to want to make sure you pick up a decent amount of eliminations if you want a chance to make the top 600. But I would recommend getting your eliminations endgame, as that's where it'll be the easiest. And when you qualify to the finals, you need to make sure you pick up a decent amount of eliminations, as eliminations are 3 points each and placement points are the same, meaning 20 eliminations is the equivalent of a Victory Royale. My biggest tip when playing the Solo Cash Cup is don't force eliminations. Even though they're worth a decent amount of points, this tournament is really going to judge you based on your performance and how many end games you make, especially in the finals. You'll have a better chance at qualifying if you focus on playing consistently for the top 5 and getting a couple eliminations in the end game, than if you risk your games trying to get kills and missing out on all the placement points. Especially since it's solos, you don't want to waste a lot of games because they'll give you a bad mentality, costing your tournament. I've been playing competitive for many years, and one of the biggest things is you need to let the kills come to you and don't force it unless it's your last resort. Moving on, I'll be talking about what loadouts you should hold to ensure your best chance at a successful game. For shotguns, I recommend the pump, but if you have the fire boom, which increases your reload speed, I recommend carrying the auto if it's blue rarity or higher, as its damage output is very high. With 14 shots, it can be very dominating endgame, and Epic Games just boosted its reload speed by 8%, so it could be a very valid option, but the pump is going to be the primary choice. For your secondary weapon, no doubt, I recommend the hollow assault rifle or the precision SMG. If you're in high elo, you should carry the hollow assault rifle. For mobility, this has been a debate all season, and you can flame me in the comments, but I believe you should hold the Void Oni mask over the sword even after the Void nerf. If you use the sword, there's a good chance you will get beamed and you will have to use mats and heals, where the Void mask distance allows you to get into zone with 1 Void instantly. Be careful when opening it up to throw the Void so you don't get beamed, and make sure to not leave your Void open for too long, where it'll give your opponents time to see the Void and aim at it to beam you when you teleport through it. So when you throw it, I try to teleport when the Void is in zone, but a little bit before it hits the ground. As for heals, I've been playing a lot of solo ranked, and it's extremely useful for both in early or mid games and even end games, and it's holding minis and water sprites. You can use minis for quick shields, and the water sprite has 3 charges, with each charge giving you 30 health or shield instantly, then another 20 health or shield over time, with you being able to pick it up immediately, but it does have a 20-second cooldown between each charge. But another heal I would carry is medkits, and the reason I say this is because I figured out an insane strategy for solos that needs to be used in the Cash Cup. If you're in second or third moving zones and you start to get low on mats and you have 3 medkits, you can play Storm to soak in as many placement points and get Storm kills to try to make the top 3, or you can play Storm for 1 or 2 medkits, and if you have the Void mask, you can Void up to height from Storm and take over height and they won't see it coming. I've done this before many times in ranked, and it has won me many games, and it's insane. Moving on to something very important this season is drop spots, and thanks to Fortnite, we have 18 POIs on this map, plus all the non-name POIs. I've already made a short talking about the Rocky RVs POI, and what you should be looking for in a drop spot is a decent amount of chest spawns, as well as you need to make sure you have at least 1 Oni chest spawn and sprites nearby to get boons or quick heals. And if you can get a drop spot with mobility like a launch pad or geysers, that's even better. And you also need to make sure your drop spot has a decent amount of metal. If you're not a good fighter, or you're really trying to focus on making endgame and wanting to avoid the W tiers, you need to make sure you play the 5-minute rule. If you are unfamiliar with what this rule means, it means you have to eliminate anyone who's trying to fight off spawn and have your POI looted and have mats and be hiding in a house or bush within 5 minutes. If you can get it all done in less than 5 minutes, then it's even better. The objective is to loot before other people are done looting and start W keying. Moving on to another big topic is off spawn fighting. Off spawn fighting can be very risky. It can take up a lot of time, mats, and heals, and you'll have third parties if you're fighting off spawn for too long. So I recommend avoiding off spawn fighting if you can't finish the fight in 60 seconds or less, and try to split the POI with your opponent if possible. I'd also make sure you have a drop map for your POI and a loot route to perfect your drop spot and give you the bigger advantage if you're contested at your drop spot. You can make your own drop spot, or you can go to Destiny Jesus's masterclass, which is what I usually do, and you can just purchase a drop map for $10. Moving on to some mid-game strategies. With rotation being so strong, I would rotate from edge to edge of zone. If you have the void mask, I'd save at least 8 voids for the end game. If you can save more, then do so, but don't be afraid to use your voids or your sword to rotate mid-game. I would try to sit in a bush or house on edge of zone and rotate as soon as the next zone opens to the following edge of zone. I recommend W keying your first game and try to get 10 to 15 kills, but try to play for end game as well. If you get eliminated while W keying, don't stress it. You have a lot of games to play out. And if you're not confident W keying, then you can play for end game, as it's going to be your easiest game of the tournament. I'd like to point out that you shouldn't be afraid to take breaks. If you have a few bad games, don't hesitate to take a 10-minute break to reset and gain a good mentality. Remember that you have a whole 3 hours to play 10 matches. If you play every match to end game, you'll only be able to play about 6 games, so don't get stressed if you have a few bad games. Now, if you have lots of games to spare with little time, I would try to use one of your games to try to get as many kills as possible, and you should queue into your key game when there's about 15 minutes left of the tournament, and you should W key for about 6 to 9 minutes, leaving yourself 6 minutes to queue into your final last game. If you aren't a good fighter but you have games to spare, I would still queue into a game 15 minutes left, because you will get a lot of placement points in that time frame, and then you can queue into your last game with 6 minutes left as well. The last thing I'd like to talk about is how you can prepare for the solo cash cup. If you can get in a small 2-hour daily practice routine up until the tournament, I would do so, and I would consist a little bit of everything in your practice routine, but the main thing I would focus on is 1v1 realistics and 32 player zone wars, as you can get the most amount of practice in the shortest amount of time. And if you have more time, I would play scrims, and if you have even more time than that, I would spend some time aim trading and mechanic training. For aim training, I would recommend using Kovacs, as this is the #1 training method that most pros use, and aim duels is also a very good option. And for mechanic training, I would use any free build map and use a Raiders edit course map. I'll leave codes on screen now. That's going to conclude today's video. I hope this video is useful and helps you qualify to your first ever solo cash cup finals. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to drop a like and comment down below if you would like me to make a how to qualify for FNCS video, because I'm not sure, since the format is extremely different, and I'm not sure if it would be helpful, so let me know down in the comments down below. If you would like to help support me, make sure you use code OcelotYT in the Fortnite item shop, and if you'd like to follow me on this competitive journey, make sure to subscribe and join my Discord server. Link is in the description below. Without further ado, it's your boy Ocelot, and have a great rest of your day or night, and I'm out. Peace.